to No Clue Podcast, episode 146. We're back. First round is over. Teams eliminated.
Yep.
It was a wild first round, though.
Yeah, I'm one of your hosts. I'm Mike.
I'm Tyler. Welcome.
I was surprised. I got to be honest.
About which one?
We got to start with the longest one. The only one that went 7.
Yeah. Yep.
Clippers came back.
They did. What was it at? It was...
Last time we talked, it was 2-0. Mavericks were in complete control.
Right.
It looked bad.
Right.
And the Clippers turned it around. I mean, where do you want to start?
Where do you want to start? I'll start anywhere, wherever.
I'll start with I have nothing to say about Paul George. He didn't like this comeback showed me nothing about him. He didn't impress me in any way, like doing things I haven't seen from him or anything like that.
You're saying positive or negative?
Yeah, like there's really nothing. He was just there.
Yeah.
He wasn't. Yeah.
Consistent points wise, that's really it.
Yeah, he wasn't really a focal point of the comeback at any point. I mean, he didn't blow any of the comebacks, any of the games, so that I guess that's a positive.
Right.
But the Clippers finally figured out who they should play through. And for better or worse, that's Kawhi Leonard.
For better or worse, yes. Yeah.
And even in these last 2 games in which he was spectacular, he finally decided to guard Luka Doncic. I don't know why it took 6 games. Yeah. But you saw the difference. Like the Mavericks struggled to get good looks just from him guarding Luka a lot of the time.
Yep.
But as far as the offensive side goes, he's just more reliable, like as a scorer, than Paul George.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I look at it a little bit differently, but keep going.
My thing is he took everything we say about him is like we'd rather him score more often as like the role player.
Mm-hmm.
And he started, I want to say it was like early game 6. He started this. Everything was quick.
Yes.
If he's open, he's shooting the ball. If he's got a mismatch, it's like 2 to 3 dribbles for a shot.
Yes.
He's getting to the basket. He's not settling. He's getting good shots.
And that's all we said all season long.
That's it.
Yep.
And the Clippers shouldn't have to move the ball well for you to get good shots.
No. Moving the ball should be a positive of you playing well.
Exactly. And it's just crazy. Like he finally started reacting well to double teams in game 7.
Yep. And quickly reacting quickly.
Yeah. And I'm watching. I'm like, dude, it's this easy. Yeah. You just got to kick it out. I like how I've been saying all year, I like how you guys can move the ball.
Yep.
You see it. I don't think a lot of teams could get Reggie Jackson 6 3-pointers.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah. And I just like watching it. I'm like, this was so obvious. Why are we 2 years into this team to figure this out?
Yeah. And the thing is, even if it's not playing through Kawhi, they have to play through someone. And where it's like this, everyone has an opportunity to get played through. That's not how good teams win. Exactly. No one wins like that. They have to just pick somebody, and we're playing through them. And, Kawhi getting the most shots, he, like you said, 2 to 3 dribbles, 3 to 4 dribbles, just go score. And it worked every time. They didn't waste a lot of time, waste possessions where Morris has the ball for 6 seconds or Reggie Jackson has the ball for too long. It was just, Kawhi scores. If not, we're moving the ball. And it looks great. Paul George always gets that little stretch in the second quarter where he plays one-on-one every time down court. And he does it well. But the thing is, when Kawhi comes in and he, gets to the point where it's like, oh, should I do that this possession or should I pass this possession? And he, looks like he doesn't know what he's supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
That's when they completely lose focus as a team on offense.
Yeah, you know what it is? They try to focus on having like a playmaker at all times.
Yeah.
And you see it like sometimes you just drive and kick. Like basketball doesn't have to be complicated. You don't always need a point guard if you got guys willing to move the ball.
And that's how, funny thing is, that's how Dallas excels without having a real point guard on the roster. Brunson is just a small guard. He's not really a point guard. And Luka just plays point because he scores so well, so guys are more open than anyone else.
Right.
He's not necessarily like a good playmaker or a passer. The thing is, everyone is watching him with the ball, so someone gets open. That's how good scorers get a lot of assists. That's how Kobe and Jordan got a lot of assists. Same way.
Yeah. It's like just easy kickouts, especially through double teams. Just like Kawhi was doing. And I think he had a decent amount of assists in game 7. Mm-hmm. But for me, again, it was just late in the game. You've been cooking, but when you're getting double teams, it's not taking you a long time to get rid of it. And now 2 passes, you guys get a wide open shot.
Yeah. And with Kawhi playing like that, Paul George can fall into what makes him so special is being able to do everything that you need.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we need more assists. Paul George had 10 assists in game 6.
Huge.
Or game
7.
Was it game 7?
Sure
game 7. Yeah, game 7, 10 assists, 6 rebounds. And he can do that because he doesn't have to, you don't have to focus on him doing something. He's the Swiss Army knife of the team.
Yeah. And I do like, as you mentioned, like Ty Lue made a point in the second quarter because that first quarter in game 7, Paul George was setting up to have another awful performance.
Yeah.
And in the second quarter, Ty Lue said, we're going to you.
Yeah.
And they got him nice looks. He even made some shots. I don't know why he like makes tougher shots more than easy shots.
I don't either.
Like open, like kick out threes are like a challenge for him. But like ISO buckets, he could do that all the time.
Yeah. He can cross guys up in that little step back fade. He does.
Yeah.
Works every time.
Yeah. But again, Ty Lue like specifically went to him even though he was playing poorly. Mm-hmm. And it paid off in the second half, man. Playing through him and Kawhi, more so Kawhi because he was feeling it, but they finally look like a complete team.
Yeah.
Finally, I mean, you got Kennard is contributing. I don't know why it took 6 games to play him.
Me either.
Like Terrence Mann fights on both ends. He should have been playing.
Yep.
So I wasn't surprised by game 7 specifically. But, I mean, just the overall comeback, I was impressed.
Yeah, me too. The thing is, the Clippers just need to use what they have, which is depth, which is versatility. And every time he decides to, give up one of those aspects of the team, they lose.
Yep.
He needs to just assert the dominance of their versatility, which is Batum, which is Kawhi, which is Paul George, which is Morris. They all can play 2 through 5 any given night. So just use it.
I still, before I get into Dallas, like they can't play defense like this and like move forward in the playoffs.
The Clippers?
Yeah. It never really, to me, Dallas more so just cooled off than anything the Clippers did. Mm-hmm. Again, Kawhi did a great job, specifically in game 7, game 6, a couple times. He just guarded Luka. Like he fought through screens. He tried his best to stay with him. Yeah. But as far as Tim Hardaway didn't play well at the end of this series, but he was getting great shots.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Finney Smith was getting great shots all series.
Yeah.
And I guess I will transition to Dallas because I don't think they're as far away from being contenders as people are kind of making it seem now.
Yeah, I think people are kind of chalking this up to Luka being really good, and I think they really discredit the offense, like the overall roster of the team, which is actually really good. It's solid. Yeah.
Yeah. With them, they also struggle defensively. Mm-hmm. Theirs is more of they're just not as consistent with the attention to detail.
Right.
And some of that is just inexperience. They talked about it every other game, how the Mavericks roster, like, combined playoff experience was nothing.
Right.
And JJ Redick was like the majority of their playoff experience, and he's not even playing. But I just thought too many times I'm watching them, and they got stops playing one-on-one defense. They got stops playing zone defense. But like in crucial moments, I felt like their defense just didn't like perform well.
Yeah.
But as far as Dallas, one issue I had with them is like they kind of struggled to figure out, okay, Luka has cooled off. Maybe we should get other guys involved. Or sometimes it was the opposite, where it's Luka's feeling it, but we're trying to play through other guys like too often. So I think they just needed like slightly tweak their shot distribution.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't like Luka could like being responsible for like 80% of their baskets. Like, that's insane. That like Harden, Houston type of style. It's just he's always gonna wear out in the fourth quarter because he's literally carrying the offense. Yeah.
And the thing is, they don't need that because they have guys who they bring in that can create shots. You know, Brunson and Burke have proved they can create shots for the team. I mean, they're not, like I said, they're not really playmakers, but they're guys who can drive and get looks that create open looks for other people. I also don't think I don't think Carlisle does a good job of finding easy shots for Porzingis that much. I think he kind of, some of the shots, at least in the last two games, Porzingis really had to like rely on him being just bigger than everyone to get the shots off. He hit that 1 foot fadeaway on Paul George, I think it was, in the corner yesterday. That just, he should have had easier shots than that. And
early on, they had like the high lows where they were getting it to Marjanovic, and then he would cut and get like an easy dunk. And I thought they could have like looked for that more.
And the thing is, when Luka's out, that's the best time to do that, because those are the easy baskets you need when you don't have your star player in the game. And I didn't see that much. Josh Richardson gave them nothing yesterday.
But the problem with that, Josh Richardson got like benched.
Yeah, I know.
He again, offensively, he was bad the 5 or so minutes he played in the first half. But all of a sudden, Rick Carlisle is like, I'm gonna sneak in Trey Burke in here,
who hasn't played like the whole rest of the series.
Yeah, and I thought that was such a mistake because like Richardson does a good job on defense.
Yeah.
Even if he's not hitting shots, I mean, he's still giving you a lot of help on the other end. He's still a good playmaker. He's still like a hustle bucket guy.
Yeah.
Trey Burke looked out of place.
He did.
Especially with how well the Clippers were playing offense at that point.
Yeah.
It was frustrating because, Carlisle's one of the better coaches in the league, and I just thought that was a mistake.
Yeah, his substituting in Game 7 was a complete disaster, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. And Ty Lue was actually good.
It was, yeah. Powell was kind of weird out there. I mean, he scored, but it was weird. Kleber was worthless out there for the most part. And even Brunson, he didn't have Brunson playing how Brunson normally plays. It seemed like Brunson was off the ball a lot, which isn't really his game. But
yeah, I think they overreacted to Luka's first half.
Yeah, maybe.
And just kind of like there was a point where Luka is just missing. I'm like, dude, there's got to be something else here. Like Finney-Smith is getting great looks, and granted, he's not a guy who should be getting 20, but it's okay. Yeah, it's okay to get him open shots if Luka's off. I don't mind that. Right.
I mean, meanwhile, the Clippers were finding Terrence Mann easy buckets over and over.
You know what else, Dallas? Great. You know another issue I had with Dallas, especially in this last game? you start out dominating the boards, and the Clippers made the decision like we're gonna get killed on the boards today, and then you just quit rebounding. I mean,
that was
the
weird.
Clippers play the second half practically with no center at any point, no real center. And they're like, when the game is crucial, late third quarter, early fourth quarter, they're getting extra possession after extra possession. You're over here fighting for a comeback with like 4 minutes left. You can't get a stop because they're getting tap outs.
Yep.
Like they played Zubac 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So they win a whole game 7 with no bigs, and you don't dominate them on the boards. It was such a missed opportunity to me.
I agree. Yeah.
Especially because you're playing with 2 bigs a lot of the time.
2'7" plus. 7-footers plus.
Yeah. And Marjanovic was like trying. He's just not like, obviously he's not athletic enough to grab every rebound. I never even saw Porzingis in the paint when shots were going up.
Me too. Yeah.
So they just, as far as Porzingis goes, they have to get him playing inside out.
Yep, they're not using him nearly how he should be used at all.
They're literally using him like a better Kleber.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bizarre.
Exactly.
I don't understand. I know he was having a bad series, but he's a capable player. We know that.
Yeah.
So
we know he has star qualities that,
It's just frustrating. I think Dallas missed such little opportunities that could have got them the series.
Yep.
But it's a learning thing for them, man. I think they're closer than they seem. It's just getting that experience, possibly adding a piece or two, but I think they're fine.
Yeah. They still have James Johnson, right?
Yes.
Or did he? Is he?
No. New Orleans.
He went to New Orleans. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. Yeah, man. Tough one for them. Like we said, minor changes they can make, and they could be right back there. I think they need another ball handler that they can find confidence in. If they entrust Jalen Brunson or Burke with it, cool. But Luka Luka coming in and out and still being the only capable ball handler for their offense isn't going to work.
I really want to see a healthy JJ Redick with this team.
Yeah, me too.
They like a lot of their guys turned into spot up specialists, and they're not really built for that.
Yeah.
So I want to see like a spot up specialist playing that role.
And he'd be tough not being able to help off of him for Luka would be really
I think him with their backup guards, like along Brunson or even Trey Burke, I think that could work really well too.
Yeah, if he even comes back with them next year.
I want him to be healthy. I don't mind if he goes to another team.
Oh yeah, I want him to be healthy. I want to see him play again for sure. He's got a lot left in the tank, I think. I don't know how his body is holding up, but as far as on the court, he's still competitive, if not more competitive than he ever has been.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, you want to switch gears to another series?
You want to go east or come back or stay in the west?
Let's go east. Oh, hold on.
What series do you want to start with in the east?
Let's go the one that started yesterday, Atlanta and Philly, because we didn't really finish talking about either of them.
Yeah, Atlanta, New York, we didn't finish.
Right. So Trae Young, man. I said Hawks in 5, and
right.
I said it reluctantly, hoping that the Knicks would surprise me, but it is what it is. Trae Young is a beast, man.
It's a closer 5 than it kind of seemed.
Oh, for sure. Every game was competitive.
Normally, I look at coaching like when somebody's playing poorly. I see like if coach is trying to help them out, like how much of the guy playing poorly is on the coach.
I know where you're going with this.
I gotta say, man, and I don't assign any blame to Thibodeau, but Randall was hot garbage.
The whole series.
The entire series.
That's what blew my mind. First 2 games, I'm like, okay, cool, I get it. It's early. First playoff series, cool. But by game 3, 4, I'm like, Randall, what are you doing, man? We need you to wake up.
I'm watching game 4 and 5. And Randall, who, again, has been trashed the entire series, they're showing before the game, during the game, like his percentages have been awful. He's just been bad.
Yeah.
And he's still he's taking shots like he never cooled off. Like they just handed him the MVP award. He's just going nuts. Dude, it made me so mad that, again, like you said, 1, 2, 3, even 3 games. Okay, I get it. It happens. By game 4 and 5, you have to know I'm not playing well. Why are you still taking heavily contested shots over everyone? I mean, I knew Trae Young was top 5 as far as point guards go.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a better point guard all year.
Explain.
I just think of all the guys who will get high numbers of assists, he's the only one I've seen that I consistently feel like his team is involved. Whether he's having a 35-point night or he's having a rough shooting night, his teammates are always involved.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I could think of a point guard that gets his bigs involved as much as he does.
No.
And again, he's such a great passer. When he gets dribble penetration, and Philly got to experience this yesterday, the Hawks are like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, they are. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah, because even Solomon Hill is not a total trash can. He could hit a shot, he get a putback or a layup every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
So the Hawks, everybody that plays for the Hawks is a legit threat.
Yeah.
I mean, they got even guys. I mean, everybody they put in the game is involved in the offense. And that to me is a huge part of that is just Trae Young being as good as he is.
Yeah, I think so too. And he's not someone that has to be on fire to draw attention from the team. He goes to spots to get guys open. He creates the opportunities. They don't just happen because he's hot.
Yeah. And it's interesting because they're offensively, they're like a perfected version of what Dallas is.
Yeah, I would say that.
Because they don't Trae Young is not their volume offensive carrier.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot of balance when they go away from Trae Young, but Trae Young still, again, it gets everybody involved.
Yeah, and then they find shots from John Collins that they can't figure out from Porzingis at the moment.
Exactly.
But Collins gets perfect spots every time down court. Perfect.
Yeah, and this team shows me how valuable Capella can be.
Mm-hmm.
Because in Houston, his value was just off rebounds and Harden's, attention on Harden.
Yeah.
Now, because everybody's a threat, now he gets to roam free a lot of the time.
Yep.
And again, you see everybody throws him lobs.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah.
Everybody. Bogdanovich, Gallinari's thrown him one. I've never seen Gallinari make a good pass.
Yeah.
So I just think they have such a great balance with all their players. And if you're not going to, if you're not getting Trae Young, if you're not containing Trae Young from driving and kicking the guys, I really don't know how you beat the Hawks right now.
Yeah, and another thing about the Capella point, Capella's never played with a real power forward that does what a power forward does. Like a lot of times it was just 4 guards and 3 guards and PJ Tucker out there on the wing, and then Capella was just the only big man on the court. And now where Collins can play, he can post up, play inside, outside, and kind of create more things for Capella as far as size goes. Because now like the biggest guy on the court might have to guard John Collins.
And it's interesting because Collins is versatile.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like, he could shoot a little bit better from the perimeter sometimes, but I like how when he starts missing shots, he starts looking for layups and lobs and, transition stuff.
Yeah.
Again, the chemistry with the bigs works so well because of that.
And another thing that is an effect of Trae's excellence, you have to have your eyes on your man all the time. Because you can never leave John Collins because you never know where he's going to be.
Yeah.
Like you turn around, he's in the air dunking on you. You turn around, he's in the corner hitting a 3. He's all over the place. Hunter's the exact same way. Capella is the same way. And then Bogdanovich, he finds these wide open 3s somehow when guys know he basically only takes 3s every night. 85% of his shots are 3s.
And Bogdanovich, the more I'm watching the Hawks, the more it seems like his kind of out of control play is almost by design. Where it's kind of like making them more I don't know what's the word, I guess more unexpected with how they do things.
Yeah, more spontaneous.
Yeah.
Also
for better or worse.
Mm-hmm.
But again, the chemistry of the team is so good. The way everybody is included in the offense is so. It's almost like this team has been together for countless years.
It does seem like it, yeah.
It's crazy to me. I mean, and they even showed a stat in this game 1 yesterday that Trae Young is the leading assist guy off drives in the NBA.
Yep.
I mean, once I saw that, I'm like, dude, you have to keep Trae Young from driving.
Yeah, and you can't.
And you just cannot. So it's like you're going to be struggling guarding them. You're going to have to put up 120 points to beat the Hawks, I think, at any point moving forward.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, Bogdanovich played like garbage this whole series, in my opinion, as far as shooting wise.
I don't
he
disagree.
Shot terrible.
He did. A lot of bad shots.
Yeah, and even the good shots, I just could not figure out how he didn't go in. Gallinari was 0 for 7 in the last game. I mean, it's like it doesn't matter because they get good shots, and Trae is just such a good player that he just figures it out. He seems like someone that, he's a score first point guard, but if he needs to score more, he can, or if he needs to get more guys involved, he can. It's not like this is like a struggle Steph has had. It's like Steph will score more when he doesn't have to, and then when you need him to get the guys involved, he can't figure it out, or vice versa. Like if he's not shooting good and he's doing well getting the guys involved, but it's time for him to hit some buckets, he doesn't get it. And not that he's not an all-time great, it's just he struggled with that his whole career, and that's something Trae
already has mastered.
Yeah.
That balance of getting your own buckets and finding your teammates. Again, just looking back to this year, none of the other point guards have come close.
So it was criminally snubbed from All NBA last year, and if he snubbed this year, it's just complete nonsense.
Disrespect.
I never even want to read the All NBA again. It's just worthless. If Trae's not on it, it's a worthlessness. Because he
told you. I mean, yeah. I told you he's the best offensive point guard in the league.
Trae is like he bought the like VC brought extra VC. Like you had Steph, two guys had Steph and Trae had extra VC, so he got like his passing stuff done before he started his my career.
Yeah,
That's what
exactly.
it's like.
He bought like the deluxe edition.
He got the 10,000 VC
Nah.
that came with it.
Yeah,
Because it's
bro.
like when Steph needed 10 years in the NBA to learn, Trae knows. He has his range. He has his passing. I mean, and the handles, you can't say there's anyone who, I mean, everyone likes Kyrie's handles. But as far as effective handles, you can't say anyone handles the ball better than Trae.
No. And he's got the best floater package in the league.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Best floater package in the league.
I also think they said this either the last Knicks game or yesterday that he has the most floaters in the league this year.
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
which didn't surprise me at all. Just
most
from
attempts
watching the
and
playoffs.
makes.
That sounds. And again, last point is at every point he's willing to do both. Like he could have 20 points in the quarter, but if Gallinari's wide open, like you better be worried about him finding him.
Yep.
And it's the same way. Like even guys are open and Trae isn't shooting well, he'll get a bucket.
Mm-hmm.
And that balance, I just don't see that from the other great point guards.
Yep. Well, what kind of sucks about it is Lou Williams can't figure out how to fit in on the team.
Yeah, he's the only like outcast so far. But I still think he controls. Yeah, he controls like their second unit shots, and I do think there's gonna be a game when that helps them a lot.
Eventually,
I mean, he's gonna have to make some shots. He's starting to get to a point where he's not even making good decisions anymore.
I agree. Yeah.
So we're either looking at a really bad slump or a guy whose career is on the decline.
Yeah. This team is Cam Reddish evolving away from being like perennial contenders to me. Like if Cam Reddish is 75% of what they thought he might be coming out of high school, I don't know how anybody would beat this team in 7 games.
I think you're selling them short. I think they're contenders.
I'm saying perennial contenders are like this. Like right now, we'll say that for the next 4 years they're going to be contenders. I'm not ready to say that. This year they're contenders, but next year it may be up in the air for me. But if they have that guy, if they have another guy that they know is going to be there for a while that can get 20 points a game at times, they're stacked. Their team is so deep. Even the young big guy, Okonkwo, I mean, from USC, he played great. In the little minutes he got, he played great in this series. So they have these young guys that are just going to keep building and building. Like the Warriors, they were champion for making a team through the draft. This is it right here.
Yeah, and I think they are contenders because of those young guys. Like because they fit so well, I know it's not going to take a lot for them to improve.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Like Hunter is such a seamless fit already, and all he did was make his shot a little bit more consistent.
Yeah.
That's really it. Like he hasn't, once he gets a dribble game, like a maybe even like a post game, I mean, he's going to fit right in with everything they do.
Yep.
Reddish is another guy. Reddish, all he's got to do is get healthy to me.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen him play really well a few games this year. His shot's not consistent, but by the time he comes to how the team is now, because he really hasn't had a lot on court with Gallinari and Bogdanovic yet. By the time he gets there where he's going to have wide open shots, just catch and shoot threes, yeah, man. I mean, they're going to be tough. I mean, he should be back before the playoffs are over, I think.
Yeah, I hope we get a chance to see how he like rounds out their lineups.
Yeah.
But again, to me, the Hawks have no glaring flaw.
No, they don't. They really don't.
Nothing. I can't look at anything like. Again, they have similar like young team problems to Dallas, where they're inconsistent on both ends. Typical. But that's again that everybody has that, and because they don't have glaring weaknesses, I mean Trae Young gets to shine.
Yeah, and their guard defense could be a little more solid, but they play really hard on defense now. How they are, so,
and having a strong front court gives you more of an opportunity to like overcome like maybe even Trae Young being a mismatch. Because that's gonna happen. Getting further and further into the playoffs, more teams are gonna try to attack Trae directly.
Yep.
So we'll see how they adjust to that, but I think they can handle it.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. All right.
Let's go to the West. We gotta talk about We gotta talk about the Lakers.
That tells everyone how we feel about it. The fact that we, saved them for third in this podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say right now, I bought into them all year, and I was wrong.
But I'll say that because you bought into them with Anthony Davis healthy. So
right.
It's not like it's not like they're the same team that won last year.
To give myself a pass, a slight pass, I think they looked burned out.
Mm-hmm. They did.
Everybody that was there last year, Caruso looked burned out. Kuzma looked burned out. Obviously, Anthony Davis literally broke down.
Yeah.
And by the way, if any real doctor cleared him to play in Game 6, shouldn't be a real doctor anymore.
I agree.
That was insanity. But and again, just all their returning guys looked like washed. Every single one of them.
Yeah.
But who I can't give a pass to, it's actually two people I can't give a pass to. Obviously Marc Gasol, he can't guard anybody. Drummond, I've been saying Drummond is overrated. It doesn't surprise me that he couldn't even get on the court in the last game.
That was sick.
It was, but it didn't surprise me.
That's really, you start him up every game he's been on the team, other than the last game of the season, that elimination.
Vogel was trying to like get OD creative with the lineups, and it backfired in his face completely.
Yeah, it did.
But the problem, I got two guys I have an issue with who don't get a fucking pass. First one, Dennis Schroeder. What the fuck happened? Only new guy, so he, the only real new guy. Montrezl isn't really playing, so I don't really give him any blame for anything.
Yeah,
Schroeder, they're feeding you the ball. Like they're forcing. They're like, yo, we don't care. I don't care about Kuzma, none of these guys. Schroeder, you are our third option.
Yeah,
and he was so shockingly awful. Because every other time I've seen him succeed, it's been him kind of like a sixth man or him just kind of feeling it and taking control of the offense. It's never been structured.
Mm-hmm.
The Lakers tried both. The Lakers tried to include him in their plays, and he would get open shots and brick them.
Mm-hmm.
And then they would try to force feed him, like I said, and he couldn't do that.
Yep.
I mean, I've never seen a guy ran pick and roll with Anthony Davis for 5 games. I never saw chemistry once.
Nope.
Dude, you're a guard. Forget being a point guard. Like, dude, you're running pick and rolls with Anthony Davis, and in 4 games, you can't figure out how to get him looks, how to get yourself looks.
Yep.
That to me, like, I can't even blame Vogel on that.
Right.
So to me, and the other thing on top of that is, he made a big deal about expecting a lot of money.
Yeah.
And he just faded away later in the series because he couldn't make shots. He was awful. He couldn't guard anybody. He was hacking. Like, he was forcing drives that were just going straight backboard.
Yep.
It was
Declined this
ugly.
option, like you said.
It was just ugly, man. It really everything about his game, especially the last like 2-3 games, was awful.
It was just humbling for him though, because he will be someone's $6 million next year. He'll be right back on the bench. He's not a starter. He proved it.
Yeah, he really showed it. Just the way he, especially again, they ran things that resulted in him getting wide open looks.
And not only that, LeBron was the point guard that season. LeBron, like, forgoed his point guard duties to let Schroeder be the point guard. Like,
Schroeder said coming in, like, "Yo, I'm trying to be the point guard."
Yes.
LeBron said, "Dude, you got it."
Remember when Vogel got there and he said LeBron's going to start at point guard, and people were like, finally, everyone knew he could do this. And then this year, LeBron decided, I'm not going to be point guard because we have someone that I'm confident being a point guard, and he's not doing it.
No. And I'm not asking you to set up Anthony Davis all night. But like, dude, you can't set up anyone.
No.
You can't get a layup on anyone. The further this series went on, the more guys figured out, oh, I've never seen Schroeder lay it up with his left hand.
Yep.
And
somebody they could figure that out for.
Yeah, his little blow by right drives that you used to get him quick layups. That doesn't work in the playoffs.
Yeah, we're not in that little scoop it off, not first shot of the game, no.
Yeah. And you know what else made it extra bad is that Campaign was playing like a fucking all-star. Campaign's on the other end playing like a fucking Hall of Famer, and Dennis Schroeder can't make a fucking layup.
Yeah.
And the other guy I don't give a pass to is LeBron, obviously. I mean, that's how you go out.
You're 29.
So the game was over. The game was over like 8 minutes into the game.
Yeah, it was.
Game five was over like 14 minutes into the game.
Yeah.
And that might be generous. But
yeah.
How do you come into the game? You come into game 5, okay, first game without AD. You know, you're not ready. You get blown off the court. I've seen that happen to LeBron a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But
I haven't seen it in the playoffs, but
I remember that year. Remember that year that he was alone in Cleveland when Kyrie had just left? The Isaiah shit didn't work out, and it was Kevin Love was either hurt or barely playing.
Yeah.
And he literally walked through the playoffs by himself.
Yeah.
You don't remember him just literally not even trying in some of the Indiana games?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
And then Boston, the same shit, the first 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
This to me, like, none of those games, by the way, in that year were ever on the verge of elimination.
No.
Here, dude, you're about to get sent home, and I see no effort.
It just looked like a stat chasing game for me.
Yeah, and it's so frustrating. Again, you go out, you compete, you lose. Phoenix is better. Without Anthony Davis, it was obvious that Phoenix is way better.
Yeah.
But the fact that you don't even last a half. I mean, that game 6, Devin Booker bucket, open shot. I'm like, yo, Devin Booker has like 15 points. We're 6 minutes into the game.
Yeah.
Why is he wide open?
Yep.
And that to me, like, that goes on pretty much the whole roster. But when LeBron has no energy, making no effort on either end, just like making all those awful late clock passes so his teammates have to throw up bad shots instead of him.
Yeah.
He spent the last 2 games doing that all night.
Yep.
And that to me, like, I cannot stand when he does that.
Because he doesn't have to.
Exactly. Like, dude, you do you want to be the GOAT or not? Because that was a moment when if I want to be a GOAT, I'm not going out like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going out letting a guy get 47 on wide open looks all fucking game.
Right.
I'm not going out. My team can't score and I can't blow by Cameron Johnson. I can't forget blowing by Cameron Johnson. I can't guard him. No,
Right.
That's not happening.
Right.
And that to me, like he didn't. It's not that just he didn't take Devin Booker. Okay, you don't want to guard the best player. You're elder. I get that.
Yeah, it's not really his job anymore to guard the best player.
You don't want to guard Jay Crowder. He gets to get off. Bridges gets to get open shots all day long.
You can't talk trash to someone and then not guard them and let them get off. That's the part. Like, him and Jay Crowder did Dame a few times, and then next game is like Jay Crowder just takes over, and then he was salsaing. Salsa his way out the game.
Yeah, dude. I get Cameron Johnson. We don't really know him that well. He's just kind of establishing himself as a player. You want to not close out on him? Okay, I'll let you slide with that.
Yeah.
Jay Crowder, that's all you got to do on Jay Crowder is close out.
That's it.
He doesn't do anything if you close out.
He never goes by anybody.
And we can't do that. But it's Marc Gasol's fault that we can't get a stop. All the while, I see you not trying to play defense.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen it's almost like the Lakers as a collective were like, well, we don't feel like getting stops, so we'll just send everything to Marc Gasol, and because he's awful, it'll look bad.
Yeah.
Like Marc Gasol, he's not Powell's age, but he might as well be.
Right.
So I hated that. I went out of my way to clear up my evening because I'm like, all right, the Lakers are about a battle. It's going to be a tough. It wasn't even a game.
No, it wasn't.
And that to me, when you try to be one of the greatest of all time, you can't go out like that. So that was the biggest issue for me, man. And the fact that, and it made it even worse that literally he couldn't wait a day or a week. In the post-game interview, you're telling us about Space Jam? He literally said, I don't care about they asked him, how does it feel to lose in the first round after never doing that before? And he said, I don't care. How do you not care? My guy said, I'm not going to the Olympics because I'm playing for the Toon Squad. That shit, it's just something about doing it literally in the end of season interview after getting just embarrassed. If Damian Lillard had to go bananas and they still lose, and he's like, yo, it's on me. We got to win the next one. It's must win now. It's not oh, meh, whatever. Dude, you told us your shoulders are built for this, right? It looked like Jay Crowder's shoulders were built for this more than yours.
This is something I always say about best players, about the greats. If the game was in reach at all, Kobe would never say yo, we didn't get it done, or obviously he wouldn't say I don't care. It's just I should have scored more. If I didn't have 80 points, I could have had more points. That's just how good players should look at it. And I know it's not just about scoring, but at the end of the day, the score is points, right? You lose because the other team scores more points. So if Booker had 47, he got it done. Like you said, Lillard. I'm sure Lillard in his mind thinks, oh, I had 50. I should have had 65. And that's it.
But with LeBron, we know LeBron doesn't zone in on scoring like those other guys do. But it's dude,
the thing is, that's the only thing he can control, right? Even Westbrook said that before. I can control my rebounds and my points. I can't control assists. So stop passing. LeBron, go score. That's what we need to win the game.
I just didn't think he played hard. That was my.
He didn't play hard, man.
You have a bad scoring night. You go 6 or 25. All right, you went out swinging.
Yeah, right.
It's fine. We get it. Your ankle's fucked up. I've been noticed that your ankle's fucked up because you struggled to blow by people all series.
People, you can't blow by Frank Kaminsky.
Exactly.
Torrey Craig on certain possessions.
Exactly. And I'm just like, but you're not hustling to get back, or you're not even. He took Chris Paul in that last game. He took Chris Paul for the first 3 possessions of the game and never like touched him ever again.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here?
I'm gonna put a little blame on Vogel because this thing where the Lakers do where they just hoard players and like just don't use them, and then all of a sudden like he shows like he has this rare Pokemon that you haven't seen. Like, oh yeah, by the way, I have Markieff Morris, even though he's had like 9 straight DMPs. Oh yeah, I have Trezero that I never used for any reason. I'm about to just pull them out, or Ben McLemore. Like, we're gonna see how they do, and then they play like garbage. Like, I don't really get what the point is. You might as well lose on the same 8 players you play every night.
You know what it
And
is,
Caruso
man?
was getting exposed all series. I mean, Wes Matthews comes in, plays one good game, and then he plays Wes Matthews like 28 minutes for the rest of the series, and he doesn't contribute positively anymore. I know
But
it's not really his fault, but what?
all that revolves around LeBron controlling the game.
Yeah, it does.
And
It does.
LeBron, again, I don't care if you don't got the energy to take 25 shots, okay. But if you don't got the energy to guard Cameron Johnson, why even show up? Like, just be like, yo, my ankle's fucked. LeBron would have been better off saying, yo, my ankle's fucked, I can't go, than going, in, at least in my eye. I know they would have killed him for that shit, but in my eyes, I'd have rather you fucking lying about an injury than going out and looking as pathetic as you did.
Yeah, I think Anthony Davis trying to play looks pretty bad too. I mean, on the flip side of that, Anthony Davis trying to play, knowing he couldn't go, was really bad too.
Dude, if I was Anthony Davis, I would have fought somebody in that locker room at halftime. Because watching that second quarter, I practically sacrificed my groin to get you guys to compete, and we're done by halftime. Couldn't be me, dude. I'm telling you right now. If I'm risking my groin and I've messed that shit up worse just to come out there, like, yo, LeBron, you could have told me you didn't care. I wouldn't have played.
Right. The other thing is, I wish they would they need to let Drummond go. They need to let Kuzma go. And this is for the future of the Lakers. Because if you're just not going to use them how they're supposed to be used, let Montrezl go. If you're just going to not use them how they're supposed to be used, why have them? I never imagined, man. And I know you said Drummond was trash, and I partially believed you. I didn't want to, but I did. But the way they can't get him to get 10 rebounds, that's all he does. He barely. I mean, his like negative effect is so minor on most teams, but on the best team, he has like the largest negative effect. He can't get the one thing he has done his whole career. And then Kuzma just looks like the odd man out every single game. No matter how much he plays, no matter how good he plays, he still looks like he doesn't belong. Like they just picked him up the weekend before the tournament. Like in AAU, sometimes one dude signs up late. Yeah. Like, that's how Kuzma looks every game.
Kuzma and Montrezl, I'm completely with you. It's like,
I think
they could thrive on other teams.
Absolutely. Kuzma in Atlanta right now, he'd be fired.
Yeah. I mean, either of those guys in DC would be fired.
Oh yeah.
It would be exactly what we need. But with Drummond, I'm not as quick to give up because I think committing to Drummond, their ceiling is like way higher.
I agree.
Because you saw it in the middle games where they could just terrorize you inside.
Yeah.
And I think giving Drummond another year, I don't know if, he's expecting like a big contract or whatever, but I would run it back with Drummond one more year to see if they could resolve some of the issues you're talking about. Like,
yeah,
he could survive 30, 35 minutes out there, maybe. I don't know. I mean, the fact that he doesn't is kind of weird.
Yeah.
But and also I've seen enough of Marc Gasol. I know he's a vet. Maybe you could bring him back to sit on the bench, but you can't bring him back as a 20-minute guy.
He was supposed to be on the bench this year, but they decided to bench Montrezl and Drummond instead.
They benched Montrezl because he can't guard.
Yeah.
But Marc Gasol is like worse.
I'm just saying Marc was never supposed to play more minutes than Montrezl.
Yeah.
Until they realized Montrezl couldn't guard, which is unfortunate that they realized that.
Marc Gasol couldn't guard. I don't understand the difference.
I'm with you. Then to not play Markieff Morris at all half the games, who can guard most of the time, is just I don't get it.
Yeah, it was just weird. I think Vogel overreacted to some of the things the Suns did well.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like when you got the best player is not giving you 100% effort, and he didn't those last two games. I don't care what anybody says.
Last 3 games, to me.
Yeah. Last 3 games, he's not giving you 100% effort. All the other adjustments we're talking about, positive or negative, are going to lead to exactly the same thing. They're going to they're going to limp into the playoffs. Maybe not limp, but struggle into the playoffs and get spanked by like a Denver or even even a Portland.
Yeah.
I mean, the West, all the teams that almost made the playoffs in the West would have put up more of a fight than the Lakers did those last couple games.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I think it would have went to 7 if Memphis played them. I mean, Memphis was fighting every game with Utah.
Yep.
Let's go. I don't think we really have any other East to talk about because they all finished pretty quick. Milwaukee was done.
I'm not talking about Jimmy Butler the rest of the summer. Just like I trashed Kawhi last year. I said last year, you update your resume year to year.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler was getting all the love, all the praise last year, and none of that shit.
Yeah. I mean,
to be honest,
never elevated his game this playoffs.
No. And my thing is, Miami kind of had similar vibes to LA, especially in that last game, where they look gassed.
They did. And they shouldn't be.
But I do think there's something to be said for the teams that went deeper into the bubble.
Yeah.
With, I think, Denver being the only exception because Boston, they kind of broke down. And then Miami and LA are the same way.
Yeah, but the thing about Miami is a lot of the Miami guys were taking a lot of time off this season. They got some nice pickups. A lot of time this season they were experimenting with the roster where he was starting some of these guys, starting KZ, Akpala, and Max Strus, and Haslam got some minutes in the regular season. I'm not going to give them a pass because they had a lot of time. Like Jimmy Butler missed a lot of games this season. Bam sat more minutes than he probably did all last season. They had Dedmon was getting a lot of good minutes. And then, a lot of the young guys, Nunn and Robinson, nothing changed about them. I don't know what happened to Tyler Hero, but that's a different story.
Of all the guys you're talking about sitting or missing time, the only one I remember missing like a huge chunk of time was the star player, Jimmy Butler.
Right. So you should have been well rested.
Right.
And
again, if you're not well rested, if I don't want to hear you in the pre-game or the media sessions like talking about how ready you are. You're stupidly locked in. You just got swept.
Yeah.
How can you be stupidly locked in to get swept, to get spanked 3 out of the 4 games?
Yep.
And you pretty much are to blame for game 1 because you couldn't hit a fucking shot, except for the one layup you send it to overtime.
Yeah.
That shit.
You want to hear his plus and minus numbers?
Oh God.
First game -8. I'm not gonna get deep into the shots thing because I've said it enough times. He only took more than 18 shots one game. First game, he was -8. Next game, -34. Next game, -26. Next game, -18. And that's because they just didn't want to beat him that bad. And he didn't play that much that last game. So
I will say, as far as takeaways, I have nothing else from Miami. I think Miami's in a similar spot to LA. I think they're good enough, but they need to take, you know, the full off season they're getting in like kind of refocus on the goal.
Yeah.
Because this like experimenting all year with the lineups and shit. No, if you're a contender, you shouldn't be like trying to figure out your roster. None of those guys you said are good enough to like have to figure out into a lineup. Clean up. And Pat Riley said it right after the series that they have to clean up how they use Bam. Like him being as good as he is kind of like screwed up their offense because they kind of try to maximize all the tools he has. Yeah. Which is unnecessary. But again, just use the off season. The guys who need to get better got to get better. Like Tyler Herro can't come in next season and be trash. Right. So, but again, I don't think there needs to be anything drastic. I don't think it's like, you know, like a blow up situation by any means.
I'm a hater then because I think they need to blow up. I think it's good.
I mean, if we're going to see another 4 games from Jimmy Butler like that, then it don't matter what they do. Just like I said with LeBron.
My thing with them is I don't see anyone on this team like, you know, like 5 years from now, I don't see anyone on this team being significant other than Bam at this point. Like the way Tyler Herro played this whole season, I don't see him unless he, you know, comes out like a completely new player next season. I don't see him helping them much longer. Kendrick Nunn, I don't see him helping them much longer unless they learn to control him and put him on the bench. Dragic is getting old, and he just looked old towards the end of the season. Jimmy is not going to give you 100% until the finals, apparently. Who else? Who am I missing?
I guess Duncan Robinson. He'll stick around, but like he won't. Yeah. He's not gonna make or break anybody's roster.
He can stay. He can go. You always find a shooter somewhere. But I mean, Duncan can really shoot, and that's cool. But you know, there's teams who have no shooters that do just fine. So
yeah, I do think Dallas would be a nice fit for him.
Oh yeah. And he wouldn't have to take bad shots on Dallas, which is nice. So that's the only thing about Miami for me. A lot of times when I don't want to blow a team up, that's because I see something where it's like future-wise, we should keep this team together because they could do something later. Like Memphis, I would never blow them because they look great as a team now. You know, Jaren Jackson, good foundation. I don't see a foundation on Miami at all. I just see, you know, a decent house. I don't see, you know, any foundation where like I'm going to build on to this.
Improvements, yeah.
Yeah. There's no building from where they are.
Yeah.
They just have to just play better, and that's tough. That's tough for teams like that.
I do have one takeaway from Milwaukee from such an easy first round. Yeah. And we'll talk about the matchup with Brooklyn in a few days, but they've improved on a lot of their issues, but they still think they're a lights out 3-point shooting team.
Right. And they don't like look at the obvious, whereas like you had one guy that got really hot.
Yeah, and I
Two
just think
guys that got really hot.
my thing is they kind of live and die by the three. And like I understand Miami, I understand Golden State, Utah, I understand, like Portland, I understand. Milwaukee is way better than all those rosters to have to rely on just 3-point shooting. Like to me, it's just so that was my biggest takeaway, and we'll deep dive that further as they get into this series deeper. But I just it was kind of weird to see how they outshot Miami so comfortably. Because I'm picturing it. I'm like, that's not going to work against Brooklyn. That's not going to work against Philly or Atlanta, you know?
Right.
Yeah. So we'll see how they do with that.
And just to add to that, the part that kind of confuses me is that they rely on that sometimes, but then like they don't know how to integrate it into like Greek Freak playing well. It's like they'll do that when Greek Freak isn't like being aggressive. But then when Greek Freak is aggressive and he's going to the basket a lot, he just stops looking outside, period.
Yeah.
So then it's like, then they're not relying on threes, but they're relying on Greek Freak to take, be aggressive and get to the line and not make any free throws. And then, where are you? Then they haven't taken threes. Bryn Forbes is out there for no reason. He can't guard. So it's like they end up losing on the other end.
And the other thing is they only seem to know how to space around Greek Freak. Like they did something in the last Miami game that I loved, that they force-fed Brook Lopez post-ups.
Yeah, and it was working.
It was working because Miami was just playing soft.
Yeah.
But my thing was, I'm like, the spacing doesn't look as good because Miami was still getting turnovers off of these post-ups.
Yeah.
I'm like, Brook Lopez should be at worst missing shots. We shouldn't be turning the ball over, feeding him in the post.
Right.
And that was kind of a weird thing to me, that I love that they went to that, but it didn't look that good. They didn't look as good as like I picture it in my head when I think of their roster.
Yeah, I agree. All right, back to the West. Do we have anything? Oh, yeah. We don't have anything on Utah and Memphis, but we do have Denver and Portland to talk about. Man, I wanted Portland to win this, and I think Damian wholeheartedly left it all out on the floor. But I think he's the only one that left it all out on the floor, for Portland at least. He was amazing, man. Those last two games was just sensational scoring for him. He just looked like one of the best players I've ever seen. And then the rest of the team they just might as well not have even came to the games, if I'm being honest. He could have just played 1-on-5 one of the last two games, to me.
And Denver capitalized in that last game on him trying to play 1-on-5.
They did.
In Denver, the whole series, I thought, stayed true to like the game plan. Because they never really like committed to stopping Dame.
No.
But they were much better defending everybody else.
They looked like they wanted to limit the depth of the team. But the thing is, I don't think they did a great job of that. I mean, the rest of the team just didn't play that great. Because they had opportunities. Covington had a lot of opportunities to help out as far as scoring. He didn't do that great. Powell had a lot of opportunities. Obviously, CJ had a lot of opportunities, and he just didn't do anything right.
And I'm not like Powell. He gave him a big game 4. In the last game, he gave them a big first half.
Yep.
Like that's, should I expect a little more from him? Yeah. A little more consistency. Yeah. But I'm not surprised. I told you coming in that I'm excited that they finally got an explosive role player.
Yeah.
Because you saw in game 4, he had 29. I don't think he combined for 29 the first 3 games.
Right. It was great. He played great game 4.
And Melo is the same kind of thing where I don't expect crazy contributions. Again, would I like a little more sustained scoring? Yes. But again, I can't get everything I want.
Right. I think he did really good in the last game, in game 6.
Yeah, he had that stretch where he was really aggressive, attacking guys, not settling for like deep threes.
Yeah.
The biggest thing for me, and the main issue already is gone out of the organization, so I don't got to talk about it.
Yep.
Great job, by the way. Just like the snap of the fingers, he's gone. Didn't take long. DC, hurry the fuck up. Take notes.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I like real quick about that. I like that Lillard already was thinking about the next coach. Like 2 days.
It doesn't look good, but I do like that too.
I like he was like, all right, we're moving on. Like it's
okay. Yeah, I do like that.
Yeah, I like that.
It's weird that like literally within a day he had exactly who he wanted down. Like
I love it. I like that.
I do too. It just looks bad. That's all.
It does. Yeah.
It's kind of weird that kid like withdrew his name. So we'll get into their coaching search, a week or 2 from now. But
yeah,
the 2 biggest culprits here are CJ and Nurkic.
Yep.
Again, the role players. Okay, Covington couldn't hit shots, so. You can't beat Denver because Covington couldn't hit shots. You know what I mean? Like Anthony Simons was kind of, he played well a little bit, played poorly most of the time. That's been his MO. Yeah. Whoever else checked in, same thing.
Rondé Hollis Jefferson.
Yeah, he was getting worked. He got you a couple layups. Like that's about what I expect.
Right.
CJ, I need something more than just bad shots.
Yeah, and floaters. Yeah.
I understand you can hit anything. But like if you're not gonna hit everything, I need you to contribute in other ways. Never got that. Never got that. CJ never got I never saw CJ get a consistent stop. And I shouldn't be asking for a lot considering you're guarding Austin Rivers and Campazzo.
Yeah.
Forget that you can't guard Monte Morris. I'll let you slide if you could at least guard Campazzo. You couldn't do that.
Right.
I really don't even want to talk about Nurkic because he's seriously my least favorite player in the NBA right now.
Me too.
I mean, watching that game 6 and him make 3 awful decisions and then make a good decision and then almost like ignore the good decision he made to make like other awful decisions on top of that.
Yep.
I've never seen somebody have such little IQ in so many aspects of the game.
Yeah.
While having the skill set to do anything.
Yep.
Oh my God. Forget that Jokic terrorized him all series. I mean, my guy fouled out. He fouled out of like 70% of the series.
Yep. I mean, he was off the court for so long, mainly just because he couldn't guard anybody.
Oh, he's so bad in pick and rolls. He's so bad at individual defense. He's a fucking hack box. He somehow doesn't battle on the boards unless it's to get himself a bucket.
But the crazy thing is, why didn't they go to Cantor?
Oh, Cantor had no hope of stopping Jokic.
I know, but if Nurkic is playing as bad as he was, I mean, give Cantor a shot. Cantor had like 3 or 4 DMPs in the series.
Yeah, but Rondé Hollis Jefferson, let's throw him out there, see what he could do.
That's what I'm saying. That's the only. I understand Cantor's not much better of a defensive player, but he's a better rebounder, and he'll battle inside. Cantor likes to battle. He's a competitive guy.
Yeah.
But
and you know what? And Cantor would have made Jokic work on the other end.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Jokic couldn't even do that.
No.
Dude, Jokic, outside of, I think, game 4, he had like 35 plus in every game.
Yeah.
I'm exaggerating. I know it was like 30 or 32 a couple times, but he had a 38 piece twice. I'm pretty sure he had 35, 36 in one of the games.
Yeah.
And he was getting double-digit rebounds and almost double digits assists every game.
Yep.
Again, I talked about this with the Clippers all the time. You can't stop Luka Doncic. Okay, no, a lot of people can't.
Right.
But you should be able to stop Tim Hardaway Jr. or Jalen Brunson.
Right.
This is the same thing. Like, you couldn't stop Monty Morris all series.
Nope.
It just, dude, that game 6, that fourth quarter, it infuriated me in so many ways. Jamal Murray is not there.
Mm-hmm.
And watching Denver the last 2-3 years, when it's a close game, what are they going to do? 1-5 pick and roll, nothing else.
Yep.
They don't have Jamal Murray. They run the exact same shit. For 6 minutes, you couldn't get a stop.
Yep.
They went Austin Rivers with Jokic. Austin Rivers got a layup. Jokic got a bucket. Then they went Monty Morris the last like 5 minutes, and they couldn't get a stop once.
Yep.
That's all it takes.
Meanwhile, McCollum couldn't get an easy bucket over Marcus Howard and Campazzo, who are both sub 6 foot.
I just like Denver. To me, Denver looked like they knew their own roster.
Mm-hmm.
While I never saw that from Portland.
I neither.
It's like it's every point there's a struggle. It's Dame, like, save us.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Denver struggled on, even in a lot of their wins, they struggled. And it was never just the Jokic take us home.
Right.
They're getting Austin Rivers involved, Michael Porter Jr. They're forcing him to get involved even when he doesn't want to. They get Paul Millsap is contributing.
Yeah.
But we can't get Melo to give us, like, we can't include Melo in a meaningful way because we just play pickup.
Yeah, they have to like just revert to pickup with Melo, and it never
everybody. That's the only way they get like Covington to contribute. That's the only way they get like Anthony Simons to contribute. It's just, let's just play pickup.
Do you know like any strategy that Terry Stotts was
doing? None.
Like most coaches, I could say, hey, I could see what they're trying to do. They run mostly this, mostly that. They're this kind of coach. I can
even say that with Ty Lue, and he's an awful coach.
Right.
I can say that with Scott Brooks, and he's an awful coach.
Yep.
And when I look at Portland and Terry Stotts, I see no structure, no adjustments, no attempt to fix any of the issues that are making them lose the game.
Right.
This was probably the most frustrating series to me, those last 2 games.
Yeah, me too.
I just like Portland looked so inferior, and they're better. That's
the craziest thing. They look like they were the underdogs in this, and really roster-wise, they're the better team, much better team.
Like, to me, the collective guard play for Denver matched the game control that the Portland backcourt had.
Yeah.
And that's with a guy, and Portland had a guy averaging 35?
Yep.
And you got the trio, not even forget Marcus Howard, who barely played, or the other guy whose name I don't even remember, who also barely played.
Mm-hmm.
They went with Monty Morris, Austin Rivers, and Campazzo as like the 3 guards.
Yep.
And You had no answer?
No answer.
You don't belong in the playoffs if you don't have an answer for that.
Right. And worst part is Monty Morris, like as good as he is sometimes, scoring wise, he shoots himself out of the game a lot. Like you can get him to shoot himself out of the game to the point where he just stops being aggressive. But he never felt uncomfortable. Like they never looked uncomfortable on the court at all.
Dude, he's
Monty Morris looked confident all night.
How is Monty Morris, who's what, 6'2", maybe?
Yeah, 6'2", yeah.
McCollum is what, 6'7", 6'6"?
6'5", I think, yeah.
Okay, he's
Something
not that
like
big. But he's
6'5",
like several inches bigger than Monty Morris.
Yeah.
And Monty Morris is sizing him up into pull-ups.
Yep.
Whole series.
Yeah.
Austin Rivers, who has like his whole offensive package consists of like maybe 5 total things.
Yeah. Hezzy cross
right to left, right to left. Like the super jabs, the jab rip throughs.
Yep, the jab step back.
Yeah, that's really it.
Yeah.
And he looked unguardable.
He did.
Campazzo's running around like literally doing anything he wants. If Campazzo was like an actual good shooter, this series would have been fucking embarrassing.
I hated how easy Campazzo got to the basket. It was just ridiculous.
Like fucking Trae Young, he's getting to the rack, dishing out to whoever.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Again, the Clippers collectively didn't like adjust their issues defensively, but at least like individual guys took challenges. They made more of an effort. I never saw any of that in Portland.
No, I didn't either.
And that's my biggest fear for them moving forward is they're going to pull what the Clippers did is, it's all Doc Rivers' fault. It's not, nobody was doing anything wrong. Just Doc Rivers didn't structure us well.
Right.
It's the same thing here. They're getting a new coach. Everybody's going to think like, it wasn't us playing poorly. It was Terry Stott's fault. If CJ comes back playing the same way, I don't care.
Yeah.
Clearly there's not a self-aware. If Nurkic is back there and they're still forcing like playing through him.
Yeah.
It's going to irritate me like a lot.
I agree. They have a big decision on their coaching assignment. You know, who they decide to be their next coach. It's a really big decision.
I do think Denver, by the way, like I said last year, they're a real contender. I know they're not getting to the finals. I would be shocked if they beat Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
But they're clearly the years of this roster playing together is coming, like it's showing.
Yeah, it is.
Mike Malone is becoming a much better coach almost every game.
Yeah, he is.
And their cohesion, I think, I think they'll give Phoenix a tough time, man. I really do.
Yeah, and the thing is, man, I mean, I said this last year, I think their missing key was figuring out how to use Michael Porter Jr. And he was like an elite weapon against Portland. Even though he didn't like score that much every game or even play that well every game, him being the threat he was at his size and being able to be basically anywhere on the court and being able to score on anybody, such a mismatch. He's going to help them a lot. I mean, he's made a big difference for them after Murray's injury.
Yeah, but everybody there, it's a really good fit as far as just guys knowing what they're in the game for.
Yep. Finally.
And Jokic is he's very inside out oriented now. Like when he misses a couple shots, you notice it in his game.
Yep.
And he's like more in shape now to last for 35, 40 minutes.
Also, he doesn't have the ball as much as he used to. I mean, he may usage wise, he might, but he used to like have to bring the ball up court. He used to take the inbounds. He doesn't do that much anymore. He lets, which is weird because it's lesser guys like Campazzo brings the ball up court now. But when Murray was there, a lot of times Jokic would come get it.
Yeah,
and now he doesn't do that as much.
It's weird.
It helps them.
They've flipped it, and it's helped those guys because they're so limited.
Mm-hmm.
But now, like Campazzo looks like so much more of a threat just because he's playing pick and roll with Jokic, not because he's good.
Right.
And that's kind of, going back to Schroeder. That's why I was so mad at him is when you're playing with such an elite big, it should be easy to find scoring opportunities. It shouldn't be difficult.
Yeah.
And Denver is a perfect example of that.
I think them making that change where Jokic doesn't have to bring the ball up court and he's not playing point guard on the team, I think that really, really helped them. Because it like you said, it makes guys like Campazzo, Morris, and even Howard, all those guys, more of a threat than they used to be. Because a lot of times they were just out there just as catch and shoot guys. And they weren't good catch and shoot guys because Jokic would have the ball all the time. So now Jokic gets down, gets on the block, the pick and rolls work well. They're good. But yeah, I'm picking Phoenix to take them for sure.
I think Phoenix in a tough 7.
I'll go Phoenix in 6. It might go 7. 7 could be. Because still, I think Jokic is definitely going to outplay Aiden. So
yeah, Denver's good at like dragging out series that they're losing too.
Yeah, they do. They are. Yeah.
Was there any other? I guess Brooklyn. Technically, last time we talked, the series wasn't over.
Yeah, it was.
I know.
It's pretty.
I don't want
to. Yeah.
I don't want to talk about that game 1, but sheesh.
It looks good, game 1, without Harden. Harden's not playing game 2.
Brooklyn and Atlanta. I talked about this with Atlanta a little bit, but Brooklyn is the flawless version of what Atlanta is. It's just like the structure of it is different.
Explain.
But as I mentioned with Atlanta, everybody like plays off each other well.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically off Trae Young because he's their primary creator.
Yeah.
But in Brooklyn, it's so much more dangerous because Kyrie's obviously an option to do that.
Yeah.
KD's an option to do that. But then Harden goes out and you got Blake.
Yeah.
And one thing in this game 1 that I was just so nice to watch, how many times did somebody get it and like the guy closest to him would cut just because, that's a good thing to do to get open.
Yeah, a lot of times, every time.
I saw everybody do it off of somebody. Like Kyrie did it at one point. KD was cutting. Obviously, the role players were cutting a ton. And I thought they would feel Jeff Green's absence for this game.
Yeah, not at all.
I mean,
they
everybody
need to immediately create more space.
Yes, and the way they create space is like the textbook perfect way of doing that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Bruce Brown fits in so well because he just cuts, slashes, and rebounds.
Yep, pass and cut.
Right, and they don't look like they're relying on Kyrie and KD to create offense for them.
Right.
So if that trend continues, if KD gets to do that Golden State shit where he's just role playing out there, just fitting in with the team like he did in game 1, you're gonna have a tough time beating Brooklyn, man.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. You got anything for the Utah and LA series? Any thoughts?
If the Clippers are gonna guard the others like they did in Dallas, it's not gonna be a long series.
Yeah, I'm curious to see who guards Donovan for the whole series.
But my thing is, like, you're not gonna stop. I'm not surprised if Donovan cooks you. He could do that.
Mm-hmm.
But Royce O'Neal can't be out there getting 20 pieces. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Utah's role players as a collective, especially with Clarkson. Jalen, like Clarkson's a different animal than Jalen Brunson was.
Right.
But to me, the Utah's collective role players are so much more explosive than Dallas is.
Yeah.
So they're gonna have to play collective defense if they want to go to the finals.
Right.
I don't. Kawhi better get 50 if they want to come out of this series not playing defense.
Yeah, because Donovan is just as explosive as Luka, and like you said, all the others are more explosive. So it's just like an upgrade from Dallas. So.
It really is, yeah. And now you have to. The other thing is you can't play 5 fucking wings or like 2 guards and 3 wings.
Oh yeah. Yep.
That's not gonna fucking work.
Nope.
Please give Cousins. Please give Cousins a chance.
Hold on. And the thing is, Gobert is willing to go out there and challenge it. Like, he go out there and challenge a Morris or a Batum. He doesn't care. Like, he doesn't mind doing that. It's not like Boban, who doesn't want to leave like 1 foot out of the paint to go challenge a 3. Gobert will do that. So it's the 5 wings. Yeah, it doesn't work for them.
It only works when they're flawless offensively, and like that can't be the recipe for victory in the playoffs is being flawless offensively.
Yeah, and plus Utah doing the 5 wings looks better than them doing it, because I've seen Utah do it and it looks nice.
Way better.
Yeah. All right, man. We'll be back after 2 games of the second round again to break down what's going on there.
There's some other sports stuff we got to get into. Boston's having an active off season already.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, we'll save that for next time, but we'll have a better idea of what they're doing next time, I think. But
yeah, I think so.
Boxing had an eventful night yesterday.
We can talk about that if you want. I ended up watching all of it. So.
I didn't see the whole thing, but I saw some clips of it. I mean,
it was exactly what we thought it was going to be.
I'm not even a super boxing fan like that, and it disrespects me. So
we really don't need to talk about it because everyone already knows. I mean,
it's just crazy.
Floyd knew what it was.
Floyd really, he's really Money Mayweather for a reason.
Yeah, said he made $30 million before the fight.
Yeah, I saw that.
You believe him?
I mean, yeah, probably. But
yeah,
that's cool. Look, Logan survived in there.
Yeah.
Again, I didn't see it, so I don't know how much of it was Floyd slacking or how much of it was like Logan actually doing something.
Right. It was what would happen was Logan would like try to reach in to hit Floyd, and then he would grab him immediately before Floyd landed anything on. So like if Logan missed the punch, he would be holding Floyd's arms before Floyd gave him like a full flurry after his misstep. So that's a good strategy if you're landing the punches, and he wasn't, and because he's not a fighter. So I've seen that strategy with real boxers when they know the guy's that much faster. The guy has a shorter reach, so inside is going to be tough, and that makes sense. But like I said, if you're not landing the punches, it's worthless. It just looks like hugging, like all the memes are talking about. So
yeah.
Go ahead.
I just wish Floyd was more like aggressive at trying to knock him out.
Yeah, everyone does. But the thing is, it's really pointless to call it like the fight for bragging rights when there's no winner. Like they said, we're not going to say a winner of this, but how is it for bragging rights if no one can win?
Yeah, it's weird. But Logan Paul, this is Logan Paul's like dream outcome, outside of actually knocking him out. But
yeah, saying he can make it.
It's just gonna push this shit further. The fact that he didn't get knocked, it's just
And he won't fight a sanctioned fight. That's the thing I just do not understand. How do you call yourself a fighter, a pro boxer, and you won't fight one that is sanctioned by, like, to have judges? It just doesn't make sense.
yeah. I saw a couple days ago. I saw a couple days ago. They said some bullshit about him and Jake. Said something about like their primary goal is to get fighters paid more. I'm like, this is not, you're not taking a road as if you're like opening up a road for everybody to take.
Right. Because not everyone can do it.
Yeah, and the people that do take this road are gonna further like put a stain on the sport almost.
Yeah. Because it actually gives real boxers less money. Because there was probably a real fight on somewhere that nobody was watching. I mean, not this time because they did it on Sunday, but like on a Saturday, it's probably a real fight somewhere that nobody's watching because they're watching your PS. But the undercard had two real fights. Badu Jack and Jarrett Hurd fought on the undercard, which was cool. But Jarrett Hurd was dealing with things. He's on his way out, I think, boxing-wise. And Badu Jack is getting old. He's just keeps gaining weight and just keeps fighting up in weight. He's kind of washed. For like boxing fans, Badu Jack is washed. And then Ocho Cinco got put down in the opening fight. So he's knocked down. He didn't get knocked out, but knocked down. He got up from that. Yeah. Vicious. But yeah, man, it was whack. The whole night was whack.
Just I don't know why I get it. I get why they're doing it, but the excitement, like the cultural excitement around it,
I don't get that at all.
Is so crazy to me, man.
Yeah, I don't get how these other guys are at the fight, like real boxers coming to the fight. Tyson Holyfield, T.O. was there cheering on Ocho Cinco. That's the stuff I don't understand. I don't understand why Mayweather is like training for this. He didn't have to train, and it would have been the same, same thing would have happened. And not like he has film on Logan to watch. So it was like, it's just weird.
You're talking about the grappling, like him grabbing him. I remember him doing that against KSI too.
Yeah, that's the strategy because he knows he knows if he gets hit, it might be over.
Yeah, so I remember Jake did the same shit with even like Nate Robinson. So
right, it's the punch and smother. Yeah, they smothered the punches. So, but then he ended up smothering his own punches because he wasn't using his length. It's just he just doesn't know how to box. Like, long story short, he just doesn't know how to box. So
yeah,
he did the safest thing for someone who can't box. So yeah.
Sorry to all the people that paid for that shit.
You know me, I sure did not pay for it. I wouldn't pay for that. And the thing is, I'm not sure the people who paid for it. I'm not sure what they wanted to see. That's the thing that blows my mind. What were you paying for? What were you paying to see happen?
Yeah, like, do you like boxing? In which case, why would you not watch real boxing? Or are you just looking for like drama, entertainment? You could just go on like the internet and find that shit.
Yeah, there's some good fights on the internet. I mean, YouTube has some great fights.
Yeah, there's all types of shit. There's like rap battles on the internet if you want to see like drama or whatever.
Yeah. Yep. Well, we'll be back. Talk about the playoffs. Talk about Brad Stevens. Talk about Julio Jones.
Yeah,
before this week is over.
I want to get it. I really want to deep dive a lot of these second round matchups because they look really interesting. Yeah. It was good to see the first look at all those. So thank you for listening as always. Thank you for tuning in. Subscribe, follow, share, all that. And we'll see you next time.